Shakalaka, today's video, I'm going to take a look at the worst case scenario for Bitcoin. Up here in the pink, like what happens if Bitcoin goes down 90% like it did in the last cycle. We're going to take a look at the worst case scenario for Bitcoin, why it is unrealistic, and why I am not scared or selling. Stay tuned. What's up everyone, Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, we're taking a look at the worst case scenario for Bitcoin because, you know, if it is going to be going down, it's good to be prepared. But we're also going to be taking a look at why this is exceptionally unrealistic, why I'm not scared, and why most certainly I am not selling. Now, before we get into that, guys, make sure to head over to Twitter at the Crypto Love. You could enter to win one of these shirts where we give away a shirt every single week, whether the market goes up, down, sideways, or whatever. Also, like, subscribe, click the notification bell. It helps out so much. Now, up until this cycle, actually up until we were in this triangle, what I call the Bermuda Triangle of Bitcoin, it seemed like Bitcoin was following pretty well and just following this cycle. But you see, everybody knew that that cycle was happening. And a smart game theorist would probably game that cycle to make the most money they could. And potentially we might have had like a Wyckoff distribution here where some smart game theorists did manipulate that for their gains. As a matter of fact, right now, with the recent turn in the markets, we have even traders like Magic Poop Cannon here saying that Bitcoin has confirmed the 200-day moving average in purple as initial resistance, and it may close the month below the 6-month moving average in orange. Neither of these things have ever happened in a bull market, which makes it very likely we're now in a bear market. A lot of people are thinking, hey, the tides have turned. We could potentially be in a bear market. And if you look at cryptocurrency as a whole, guys, the last month, Bitcoin down 40%, ETH down 16%, everything else in the red, BNB down 50%. A lot of pain here if you don't look at Cardano or Matic or, you know, those two. But everything else is in the red, so everybody's hurting. So we're going to take a look at the worst case scenario for Bitcoin, and then you want to make sure to stay tuned till the end, because I know when I make these FUD videos it can hurt, but I always like to leave you with a happy ending because I wouldn't do you that way. So make sure you stay tuned till the end so that you can see why not to worry at all. All right, so let's take a look at this worst case scenario, because up until we had this little purple thing right here, which is pink, and I can get it out of the way. I can't even move this thing. Here we go. Come on. Move with me today. It's not moving. We'll just delete it. Okay? So basically, up until we had that purple thing, this is where we are. Bitcoin was following this nice orange trend line, and everything was going just swimmingly, and it looked like, hey, we're going up. We're going to get into this yellow box of heaven, and then everybody can sell Bitcoin between $100,000 and $250,000, and we'll all drive moon Lambos to Elon and Mars. And that's just simple as it was. But things changed. You see right here, potentially we could have had a little Wyckoff distribution, whatever you want to call it. And basically, this triangle I made here, this triangle, the peak right there is this top right here. These two bottoms right here are there and there when you superimpose the charts. That's exactly what forms this. And as soon as we got into there, you can actually see it. As soon as we got into that triangle, that's when Bitcoin went from being parabolic to all of a sudden losing total momentum and just coming back down. And actually where we are right now, between this green and yellow line, this is the 21 weekly and the 34 weekly moving averages. Alessio Rastani actually says these are the two averages you should look at to determine if we're in a bull market or a bear market. If these turn from support, where we may bounce off of, and actually turn into resistance, so then we could bounce down underneath, that could suggest a bear market. So we're definitely going to have to take a look at those. Now, if we zoom back out a bit, because this is what I want to do to take a look at the worst case scenario. I made a video a few weeks ago where I said, hey, this feels like the top of the market. Okay, there were a lot of things going on. There was everybody in Dogecoin. There were people not even being able to pronounce Dogecoin, calling it doggy coin. There was all of these scams pulling the rug and all types of things happening all at once. And I said, hey, that feels a lot like what happened right up here at the top back in December, January of 2021. So if we create a bar pattern from right here at the top, we'll call it the top there, all the way up to, let's say, the top right here. And if we just pull that over to here and line it up with the top, guys, look at how strangely interesting this lines up with everything. Okay, and that's what makes this potential worst case scenario, let's hope not, but it's possible. And let's take a look at it and let's actually refute it. See why it is unlikely that it could happen this way. All right, so basically what would we have? Right now, we're at the top, and we'll actually make this exactly the top. There we go, exactly the top. Okay, now look at how this lines up in a way that is just shocking. Okay, so it crashes down to previous all-time high $20,000 and finds that as the bottom. Shocking, okay? Then it breaks below there, which is even more shocking. If you remember that from like, when was that? November of 2018, something like that. Breaks below there, okay? And then it comes back up and it actually finds resistance at the previous bottom trend line for what we've been going on, and then falls back down, and then it finds support on top of that. It's shocking how much this lines up. So let's go take a look at this and let's see how actually, if this scenario is possible, it could happen. Anything can happen with Bitcoin, guys. There's literally a fraction of the world's money in Bitcoin. They can manipulate the shit out of Bitcoin. Let's not be naive here. But there are a few things that Bitcoin would have to do for the first time ever that would be extremely unlikely, that if it did happen, it would be weird, but it wouldn't happen like this. So first thing is, price would start dropping, okay? And as we can see, I mean, price is pretty much lined up right here. We're right there right now, okay? It's fallen right down there, pretty much right in exactly the same spot. The next place it goes, guess what? It would fall down to actually below $20,000. Now, if Bitcoin did this, this would be the first time that Bitcoin has ever, in its history, fallen down below a previous all-time high. If we take a look at this, once after a halving, if it breaks the all-time high, it has never fallen back down that low again. Again here, after halving breaks all-time high, never fallen down that low again. So if Bitcoin were to do that, that would be a first time ever type scenario. And so we would all start making videos like, Bitcoin's never done this before. But, you know, that could happen. And then everybody would be like, okay, it's okay. $20,000 is support. We're all good here. It's not going below $20,000 until the floor drops out and it goes down to $10,000. Because that happened. Everybody was like, oh, $6,500 is the bottom. Bitcoin's not going below $6,500. That's how much it costs a miner to make a Bitcoin. It's not going below $6,500. And then one day in November, the bottom dropped out and it went down to $3,000. That's how it happened. So potentially we could see the same thing. $20,000 a bottom, not going below $20,000. That was the previous all-time high. That support not going. And then boom, down to $10,000. Now, why might it not do that? Well, that would be this red line right here, the 200 weekly moving average, right now at about $12,500. And historically, Bitcoin has ever had one weekly close, maybe two, below that point. It would be exceedingly unlikely for Bitcoin to close below there. And if you want to see those weekly closes where it did that, that was right here, the black swan event of COVID, okay? When it dropped below there and everybody was like, oh, Bitcoin's never done that before. Because otherwise, Bitcoin never had weekly closes below there, and it hadn't. All right? So, two things where Bitcoin wouldn't break below there. But let's take a look at the rest of this. Because, hey, then Bitcoin starts heading back up. And you know what? It finds resistance at the bottom channel. But guess what? That resistance at the bottom channel is actually $45,000. That's where we are right now. Not that bad. And actually, even though Bitcoin goes back down to test off of the 200 weekly moving average at $12,800, guess what? When it goes back above that channel, guess what? That's about $150,000 Bitcoin. So the price is going up there. Now, that's the worst case scenario for Bitcoin. And why do I bring this up? Because, well, I didn't know a worst case scenario last cycle. All I knew was Bitcoin was going to $1 million, and then the floor dropped out, and I had no idea. I didn't see that coming. So, you know, potentially seeing that things could go this badly. I mean, heck, Bitcoin could go down to like $6,000 or $3,000. It's possible. Nobody knows. I think it's unlikely, but it's certainly possible. But that just doesn't make sense. Because here's the thing. Ready? If we take a look, Trading Shot, who I like his charts a lot better than Magic Poop Cannon because I think he's a lot more accurate. He just did this, the importance of the 1 month MA20 and RSI. He made this chart. He said basically in last bull runs. There was a double top in the RSI, and then the price came down. So you can see down here this RSI, double top in RSI, and then price comes down. We haven't had a double top in RSI. And actually the RSI low is where we are now. If you can see the RSI lows here, we're actually well before the top. So he's saying, hey, this doesn't look like a top. And actually, if we take a look at every indicator that we have in the Colin Talks Crypto Bitcoin Bull Run Index, cbi.info, you can see here that even at the highest, we were at like 76, 77% confidence, whereas previous times, 100% confidence. So that makes me think that what's happening right now is not like anything we've seen before. Actually, Willy Woo echoes that. He says, by the way, key observation here is that it's not looking like a 2013 double pump. It's so far structurally playing out like a COVID white swan, where people on the sidelines took the opportunity to come in. And if we take a look here, no coiners are taking this opportunity to buy the dip. Basically, they crash the market intentionally to buy up cheap Bitcoin. And as we can see here, Michael Saylor says, Bitcoin uses the last iota of energy, yet gets the first measure of the attention. I mean, if we take a look at the crash, this was Elon Musk FUD saying that it uses too much energy. But now the facts come out. 160,000 terawatt hours of annual electricity is created every year. 120 terawatt hours of that energy is used by the Bitcoin network. That's only 0.00075, less than 0.1% of all the power in the world powers Bitcoin. The Bitcoin industry is getting a disproportionate amount of attention to power for a reason. And I think we know what the reason is. It's so these big boys, these big swinging dicks, can come in and buy Bitcoin at a discount. You think they wanted to buy it at $65,000? No, they prefer to get it at a fire sale at $35,000 or even cheaper if they can FUD us down even lower. After the price crash, we had Ray Dalio buying a bunch of Bitcoin. Not only that, we have Carl Icahn, billionaire and previous Bitcoin skeptic, now says he wants to get into Bitcoin in a big way. Both of these guys, these big swinging dicks, wanted to get into Bitcoin at these times because now they know that it's something real and they can buy it at a discount. You see, here's the thing. The markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. However, I think the best refutation to that is Preston Syke here, who says, my Bitcoin can remain in cold hard storage far longer than the market can remain irrational. And that's why I am not scared. And that's why I am not selling. And that's why I'm just sitting back and letting this play out. Because guys, guess what? These guys with billions and billions of dollars, they're going to do whatever they want to do to manipulate the market. Because that's what they've been that's how they made their money. They manipulate markets to make money. So they're going to manipulate this market to make as much money as they can. The only way that we lose is by getting shaken out while the market remains irrational. But if we just, sit on the sideline, hodl our Bitcoin, wait for it, things will turn around. Because, guys, mathematical proof, Bitcoin is going to infinity dollars. That's more than $1 million. It's going to infinity dollars. Why is that? Well, if we want to figure out how many dollars per Bitcoin, we just take the total of each and then we reduce. So the total amount of dollars, modern monetary theory, they've said that there is infinity dollars. They can print as much money as they want. There's infinite dollars. They have infinite money. So that's an infinity up there. Bitcoin, there's only 21 million. Now let's reduce that. Infinity divided by 21 million. Even though 21 million is pretty big, that's still infinity. That means one Bitcoin is going to be worth infinity dollars. So guys, just hodl. That's it. Simple as that. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. It's going to go sideways. We may even have this worst case scenario going on here. Potentially. We may have Bitcoin go all the way down to 10,000 or even lower. But guess what? That's just the BSDs, these guys, trying to shake us out. And if you don't get shaken out, guess what? You get to be a BSD too. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, click the notification bell. Also, come join us over on Twitter where you could win one of these shirts. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one. Peace.